Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. On a recent trip to Italy, I had an opportunity to experience riding the breathtaking roads of Tuscany on a Lapierre Xelius. Now, the Lapierre Xelius is a world tour bike, and it really is probably one of the best bikes that you've never heard of. The tour operator that we had contracted with were using the Lapierre Xelius bikes, and I was very excited to, for the first time, be able to sink my teeth into riding the bike because I'd seen it and I'd heard so much about it. And I was really looking forward to putting the bike through its paces. Not that I could threaten the potential of the bike in any way. So on this evaluation, what I'm gonna do is my typical ride evaluation. I'm gonna start out by talking about the ease of fit. How easy was it for me to get into a comfortable riding position on the bike? Then I'm gonna evaluate how the bike rode on the flat. And of course, we did a lot of climbing. So I'm gonna talk about the bike's behavior not only on sustained climbs, but also on sustained descents. I'll also describe cornering, the turn-in, and composure of the bike, just the general behavior. And lastly, I'll talk about who I think this bike is more suited for. Now, there's no way I can do a ride review of a French bike on Italian soil without talking a little bit about our experience. So let's bon voyage to Tuscany. So traveling to Italy, and in particular to Tuscany, was something that I've had on my bucket list for a very, very, very long time. And I was really looking forward to the experience that we would have there. But first, we had to board a plane from Miami International Airport and make our way to Italy. So we boarded our Turkish Air 777. We made sure that we had prepared to be comfortable by enjoying a little bit of extra leg room for the 14-hour flight. Once we arrived in Rome, we made our way by train to the city of Cortona, where we met our guide Roberto, who had picked out a size medium frame for me. The size medium Lapierre Xelius is equivalent to a size 54 frame. The bike was equipped with Shimano Ultegra Di2 in 11-speed. We used a compact crankset with a 5034 and an 1128 cassette on the back. The bike was rolling on DT Swiss 1800, which is a good aluminum wheel set, not great, and it was wrapped in Pirelli Velo in 30mm tires. And lastly, the creature comforts were provided by a full physique cockpit. Let's begin with the most important factor regarding any bike evaluation, and that's the all-important fit. From the very beginning, the size medium frame with the 100mm stem fit me pretty well. On the flats, I was able to spin up a very high cadence, or I could bring it down to 85 and grind the gears if I needed to. While climbing, I was easily able to adjust my position in the saddle either forwards or backwards to be able to change my cadence. I was able to get out of the saddle very comfortably as well. For the most part, the bike simply disappeared under me, which is actually paying the bike a very high compliment. My only complaint was with the deep drop of the bars. It meant that getting in the drops on some of those harrowing descents was not very confident, inspiring, simply because I felt a little bit too stretched out. If I was going to be riding this bike for the long haul, that actually would have been a very easy fit. Bottom line is that throughout the week I had zero discomfort or any soreness issue. Flat riding consisted of us riding through the valley roads between Tuscany and Umbria. Now this was awesome because it gave us an opportunity to evaluate the ride characteristics on the flats, as well as those shallow rollers, those things that we call false flats, just literally my favorite type of terrain to ride over. Now, initially, the bike doesn't feel super racy. It's not like, you jump on a Tarmac SL7 or even a Trek Medoni and it feels like, man, let's go. This bike doesn't give you that. This bike feels more mature, more confidence inspiring. The word that I will use is kind of like familiar and experienced. However, as the miles ticked off, you realize just how fast and capable the bike actually is. It's where its World Tour pedigree starts coming out. This is a race bike, make no mistake about it. It is very athletic and it shows. Riding slow, it's composed. If you pick up the speed, the bike simply hunkers down and gets down to business. Whether I was spinning a high cadence or I was slogging a big gear and kind of doing the grinding thing, the bike performed well. Now, there are two areas that seem to throw this bike off its game. One of them is on bad roads. On bad roads, the bike just simply becomes apoplectic. It loses all of its composure. And on a number of occasions, I found myself pulling over to, let out some tire pressure, but that didn't seem to solve the problem. The bike just is twitchy when the road gets bad. And the other thing that seems to throw the bike off is crosswinds. Okay, wait, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll talk about the twitchiness on descents when I cover how the bike performs on descents. Another area where the bike really shines is on false flats. I mean, the bike's climbing pedigree really comes on here because it immediately transmits your power into forward motion. That is one of my favorite aspects of this bike, riding the false flats. Tuscany boasts a very rich medieval history. Halfway through every ride, we were greeted with beautiful fortified cities, like on this occasion, the Città de Castelli. One thing was certain, lunch never disappointed. When I was given a choice of either a steak dinner or a pasta, I was told, "Louis, you can have steak anywhere." Pasta here is a once-in-a-lifetime indulgence. And they were right. So the day started with a nice 9% grade climb right out the gate. We're still on it. And Roberto tells me he's gonna be easy today.
It's easy for you, don't worry.
Don't listen to him.
No one can help you.
Lapierre lauds this bike as an overall race bike whose strength is climbing. I could not agree more. It felt more like a pure climber to me, very much in the vein of the Trek Imanda. And by Trek Imanda, I mean either the first generation version or the SLR. Whether you were seated or standing, it simply powers up the climbs. Lapierre has this magic formula dialed in so well that the bike is very easily able to accelerate on the steep bits. Of course with some effort, but the bike just goes. Even on the shallower climbs, the bike still flexes its muscle and lets you know that it's a for real climber. Now, I don't mind saying that I did not like descending on this bike. Why? Because it's a race bike and it acts like one. It is super responsive. It changes direction on a dime. But to a regular cyclist like me, that can be a bit off-putting. The bike also has a tendency to be really upset by crosswinds. If you get hit, for example, by a gust of wind on your way down, you better be paying attention. That happened on a couple occasions where I was grabbing a handful of brakes just to get everything reined in. Now, when it comes to cornering, you lean the bike in and it turns like it's on rails. Its cornering characteristics are impeccable. Of course, the definitive party piece of the bike is the seat stay design, where Lapierre has engineered the seat stay to integrate directly into the top tube, which is designed to give the bike some compliance. Now, I can't say that this made the bike any more or any less compliant than other bikes in the category. I really think that most of the rigidity that I was sensing from the bike is coming from what's happening in the head tube area. And also the climbing prowess of the bike is definitively coming from the bottom bracket area. This is an all-out race bike, and as such, I think the bike is made for racers, people who want to race, or people who are very experienced. Given more time, I'm sure I'd have gotten used to the quirks of the bike and we'd have gotten on just fine. One thing is certain is that this bike made a good experience even better. Heck, even Mrs. Good Cyclist got into a little bit of the action.
I think you got to come down a little because the top of your head is cut down. This is Betania. She's my wife. She helps me with the channel. Actually, the channel is her channel. It is her channel. This is her business venture. Because I talk about cycling. But anyway, Betty has been working on our channel store. And what do you want the people to know about the channel store?
Go check out the merch, the merchandise.
How can they do that?
Support. Check out the link. Go visit Amazon, our store in Amazon, our store in Etsy. Support.
Thanks, babe.
And that's a wrap. I hope you guys have enjoyed the review of the Lapierre Xelius race bike on our trip to Tuscany. I wanted to take the opportunity to just say thank you to all of the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, and the support. As always, our aim here at the channel is to inform, instruct, inspire. Be blessed.